Continuing forth, we're going to the 03-04 PSL season. Okay, I hate the season because Chiefs won it, Chiefs won the league. And the Golden Boot went to Jackie Ledwaba, who was at the time playing for Thunder, let me get their name right, Thunder Zulu Royals. I always say Thunder Royals Zulu, but it's Thunder Zulu Royals. It's one of those teams that bought promotional status, if I remember correctly, then got renamed. And if I remember correctly, that is how it went as such. But yeah, he played for Thunder Zulu Royals, had a top goal scoring feat of 14 goals, which might not sound like much, but we're going to get to a point where 14 sounds like, this guy was working. But yeah. Player of the season was Tinashe Ngwamasha. A proper midfielder. If I could say, one good thing about Chiefs was that, they had the talent surrounding them. Tinashe Ngwamasha was a proper midfielder. Do the dirty work in midfield, give the ball to Zwane, Thabo Mooki, those guys, On occasion, it was rare, but on occasion, you'd find him cross the halfway line, but he wouldn't go further than the opponent's circle. But other than that, he was a proper midfielder. I wouldn't put him as a defensive midfielder, like a traditional DM that we know nowadays that sits right in front of the CDs. But I'd say he was a central midfielder who did defensive work. The team was it's one of the better ones in history because they only lost 3 games. They had the most wins in the league, which was 18, and are currently tied for the best defense in the league's history, conceding only 11 goals. And when I say league's history, keep in mind I'm speaking from the inception of the PSL. I'm not counting NSL days and further back, But they only conceded 11 goals in 30 matches, which is, that is top notch, That's top notch. The defense is kind of underrated, you would think with such a good defensive feat, but they'd have some big name defenders working for them and such. But they had guys like Bevan Fransman, David Kanameya, Cyril Nzama, Derek Spencer, and the captain Patrick Mabedi, which are all proper defenders. I won't lie. It's just that they're not big name defenders, At the same time, it's kind of understandable as well because the main attraction of the team was a star-studded midfield. Let's just go through the usual starters were. You had Stigga Fredericks, you had Jabu Mahlangu, Player of the Season Tinashe Ngwamasha, Jabulani Mendu, Zwane, and Thabo Mooki. This, if you just read it off like that, it just reads like a team you'd build for an all-star team, like an all-star match. Rest of PSL versus Kaizer Chiefs, that sort of thing, It was just pure entertainment, Stigga, Jabu, Jabulani Mendu, Zwane, Mooki. That was all pure entertainment, Of course, the goals had to come from somewhere, and the strike force consisted of Spuso Dlamini, who came from Black Leopards, so you already had that attacking thing going on. Patrick Mayo, who came from Super Sport, he was a good striker, Patrick Mayo won't hate, he was a good striker. I remember him primarily because he had the Suarez thing going on before Suarez had it, the hand thing, the handband thing. Kabamba Musasa, who they found in the Vodacom challenge from TP Mazembe. I think he killed them in the challenge, then he went to Chiefs, then Maritzburg. But yeah, he was a proper striker for his time. And Collins Besuma, Ntofo-Ntofo. I will get to him, don't worry. Next season is the time he's shown, but we'll get to him. Overall, it was a good strike force that, would come to be great in later time. The team was coached by Ted Dumitru with Mushin Etrugal as his assistant. And while Ted was a successful coach, I'll give him that locally, I do have some reservations about his ability when comparing his time at Chiefs, in stock comparison to his AFCON 2006 run. But we'll talk about that when the time comes. But yeah, I had a bit of doubt. Looking at the league as a whole, it was mostly a down year in terms of scoring, This year, 566 goals total were scored in comparison to last year, which was 581. I mean, the top goal scorer had the lowest tally goals, since 1997-98, But I'd attribute that more to like the league becoming more defensive minded and due to like most teams, like smaller teams, not having the required talent to compete with teams like Chiefs and Pirates, who control the large majority of games with their possession style. Or like a team like Supersport, for example, who had the offensive firepower to score goals almost at will. But yeah, that was 03-04 season in a nutshell. Yeah. Next up, we'll be going into AFCON. And yeah, there are some things we're going to be talking about.